Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are on page 205, and our objective today is, today I will learn to subtract decimals. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, just like we did with adding decimals, Swan is going to teach multiple methods, but I'm not. I'm only going to be teaching you just the algorithm. So these are some good vocab words. Minuend is the quantity from which another quantity, the subtrahend, is subtracted, also known as the total or starting number. So if you see, minuend is what we start with. Subtrahend is a quantity or number to be subtracted from another, the number of the items taken away. So subtrahend is what you subtract. And then the difference is the solution. Okay, so that is a really good thing to keep in mind, all that great vocabulary. But this we do not need because we are not going to be using that strategy. We also do not need this because we're going to be writing our own steps. Now, for the last few days, you've been practicing adding decimals, so our steps should look really familiar to you. And just like we did with our adding decimals, we're going to use this extra page. So I'm 206. I'm going to write my steps, which should look really familiar to you. Step 1 is we're going to add a decimal to the end if needed. And that would be in either the subtrahend or the minuend, either one. And remember, we put it at the end because if I had 38 and I wanted to add a decimal, if I put it in the front, does that work, or did I change the value? I can really change the value. Think about if that was money. This would be 38 and that would be 38 cents. If I put it in the middle, I still change the value. I had 38 holes, now I only have 3 holes. But if I put it at the end, I don't change the value at all. Okay, step 2 is we're going to set up problem vertically, lining up the decimals, period. And remember, vertically means up, down. So that's our second step, is we're going to set up the problem vertically, lining up the decimals. Our third step is add zeros like that to create a box. Hopefully these steps are looking very familiar because notice they're exactly like our adding steps. The only step that's going to be different is step 4. Because in step 4 we used to have add, now we're going to have subtract. It's going to be our only different step. And our final step is going to say bring down the decimal, just like we had with our adding. So we're going to bring down that decimal. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you need these steps. If you don't have them, stop the video, make sure you're caught up, pause the video and move up a little bit, and then make sure you have them. So the steps should seem exactly the same except step 4. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Here's my first problem. Okay, my first problem says 4 5/10 take away 2 13/100. Okay, so step 1 says add a decimal if needed to the end. Both my minuend and my subtrahend both have a decimal, so I'm good to go. Step 2 says set up the problem vertically, lining up my decimal. And remember, just like with adding, everything should be nicely lined up, okay? Step 3 says add zeros to create a box. Are you seeing where there's something kind of missing? Right here. If I add a 0 there, I'll create a box and it will be nice all the way around. Okay, step 4 says subtract. 0 take away 3 I can't do, so I come over here and borrow. 10 take away 3 is 7. 4 take away 1 is 3. And 4 take away 2 is 2. And my final step says bring down my decimal. So my answer is 2 and 37/100ths. Okay, I'm going to look at another one. This time it's a word problem. Let me zoom out so we can see all the words. Okay, it says, George is 4 7/75 feet tall. His little sister is 3 9/10 feet tall. What is the difference in their heights? Okay, so whenever I set up a subtraction problem, I always make sure if it's a word problem that my larger number is in front. Sometimes they'll try and trick me in the wording and they'll put the larger number in second. Make sure you just set it up always. Your minuend has to be greater than your subtrahend. Okay, now that my problem is ready, I can start step 1. And it says add decimals if needed, but they both have a decimal. Step 2 says set up my problem vertically, lining up my decimal. Step 3 says add a 0 to create that box. So we need one right there. Step 4 says to subtract. 5 take away 0 is 5. 7 take away 9 cannot be done, so I'm going to borrow. 17 take away 9 is 8. 3 take away 3 is 0. And my final step is bring down my decimal. So my answer is 0 and 85/100ths. Okay, let's do some of these together, ladies and gentlemen. So please turn your page or your book to page 207. 207. And here is our first problem. 5 37/100ths take away 4 15/10ths. Okay, step 1, they both already have a decimal, so we don't need to do that. Step 2, set up our problem vertically, lining up our decimal. Oh, I almost copied it down wrong, sorry. Okay, step 3 is add zeros if needed to create a box, but I already have a nice box, so I don't need to. Step 4 is subtract. 7 take away 5 is 2. 3 take away 1 is 2. 5 take away 4 is 1. And step 5 is bring down your decimal. So our answer is 1 and 22/100ths. Okay, let's look at our last problem together. Dylan earned $10.50 mowing lawns. He went to the movies with his friends. Dylan spent $8.75 at the theater. How much money does Dylan have left? Okay, so it's clearly a subtraction problem with the how much does he have left. My minuend needs to be larger than my subtrahend. Okay, step 1, they both have a decimal, so I'm going to skip it. Step 2, I'm going to set up my problem vertically, lining everything up. Lining everything up, mainly my decimal. Step 3 is I'm going to add a 0 right here to create a box. Okay, step 4 is we are going to subtract. 0 take away 5 can't be done, so let's borrow. 10 take away 5 is 5. 4 take away 7 can't be done. Oh, he doesn't have anything to borrow from, so I have to come all the way over here and make him now a 10. Now I can borrow from him and make him a 9. And I get 14 take away 7 is 7. 9 take away 8 is 1. 0 take away 0 is 0. And bring down our decimal. Now we really would never leave this with the 0 in front, so we would just write this as 1 and 75 hundredths. Or if it was, since we're talking about money, it would be $1.75. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the only strategy you're going to be using. So as you go on in your lessons and they tell you to use other strategies, you're not. We're just going to continue to only use this algorithm. Have a great day. Bye.